Hello and welcome. I'm Lloyd Grimshaw, and this is the next episode of Behind the Plymouth Brethren. I'm pleased to continue our conversation with Mrs. Joy Hutchinson and her youngest son, Roland. Last episode, you'd remember they shared with us memories of Joy's husband and Roland's father, as well as Rolly's little girl, Gertrude, who were both taken from them suddenly and unexpectedly. Today we're talking about Joy's triumphant return to work and their views on the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church. Joy, after your husband passed, you returned to work. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, well, it wasn't easy, Lloyd. I'd been out of the workforce for about 32 years while I was happily married. But of course, I was very busy during that time, bringing up my 6 children and educating them and, entertaining friends and attending to all their needs. But going back to work, although it was difficult, it was a diversion and it was a good idea because it kept my mind off myself and gave me something to think about. I guess, I didn't feel too triumphant, to be honest. But what you say is right. It was very good. I was glad I had it. It was a good idea.
So what helped you through that transition?
I guess my work colleagues. Plus also during the year before my husband passed away, I went to an evening college with my brother and did some basic computer skills. I was glad I had that. Plus I had learnt to touch type at college before I started work back in the day. Thankful I had that skill as well.
So when you returned to work, where did you actually work?
I worked for the Universal Business Team, or UBT as it's known, which was very interesting. As a matter of fact, I was probably one of the first girls to work for UBT, and my boss lived in Bundaberg. But that was an interesting side for me. I hadn't thought about that sort of thing. UBT is all about helping people be their best with training and business help. So it was a good place to be. And from there I transferred to One School Global, and I was there for 11 years.
So for those that aren't familiar, One School Global is a global network of schools where the PBCC send their children for their education. What was the best part about working at OSG?
Oh, I'd have to say the best part was the team I was with, all younger than me. Not all community either. They're lovely people, always helpful, always made me feel worthwhile, always included me in everything. And also my boss, he was a great guy. He was very caring as a community member. Oh, no, I just really enjoyed working for them. I guess that's the best bit. I was an EA for several years, supporting various teams, the head office in other states, as well as being on the student support team to help those with learning difficulties. And the last job I had was helping on the transport teams, keeping the buses running.
So now you're retired. What's life like now? How many grandkids are keeping you busy?
Yep, I've got 16 grandchildren, including little Gertrude, who's with the Lord in heaven. I've got 2 married, and I've got 1 great-grandchild. Yes, I have several grandchildren still at school, and some little ones who are either babies or haven't started school or at preschool or primary school. And I keep myself very busy helping my daughters-in-law that have the little ones. I try to give them each a day a week to help them with their preschool runs or have the children after school or just generally mind children. So that's 3 days a week. And the other 2 days I try to squeeze in some help for other people. I always try to do some baking or meals or something for lonely people and maybe offer a word of encouragement here and there to help them. I do definitely keep busy.
So over your lifetime, Joy, how have you seen the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church change or indeed remain the same?
Yeah, well, our church has been going for nearly 200 years. And I guess there has been some changes in the way we approach our principles, but most of our principles have stayed the same. We certainly still hold to what is known as separation, where we believe that our communion on Lord's Day morning is the basis for our fellowship with others. And we stand by that. We're just a bunch of people seeking to follow the Bible, live by it, and to be pleasing to the Lord. to go by one of the prophets in, I think it's Micah, chapter 6, verse 8, said, "What doth Jehovah thy God require of thee, but to do justly, love goodness, and walk humbly before thy God," which is what we seek to follow, and I feel I try to follow as well. I guess our meeting formats have changed a little bit, particularly over lockdown. We're very glad to be able to continue our meetings with Zoom, which is a tremendous provision. We still do have some of our meetings by Zoom, but it's been good to get back together again. We missed the interaction with each other, and also our organised entertaining has changed somewhat over the years, but that just keeps everything fresh and lively, interesting.
And what about you, Roland, when you hear sections of the media or indeed politicians call the church a secretive cult? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, there's a part of me that I just have to laugh at them. They're persons that are, I must say, they must be misinformed. It is hurtful. To echo what Mum says, we're just ordinary, everyday Australians who read and seek to go by the Bible. We believe in what the Bible says. We don't think we're better than anyone else, and nor do we look down on anyone else.
Well, the church often gets accused of encouraging members to cut off those that leave. Is that a correct accusation, Roland?
No, it's not, Lloyd. I have cousins and friends that have chosen to live another way of life outside the church. I don't hold anything against them. I don't have any animosity towards them and the path that they've chosen. I wish them all the success that they can achieve. However, I felt that I had to stay where I felt I belonged in the church. That was the path I chose, that I felt where I was loved.
And finally, Joy, the reason we started this podcast was to tell another side of the story, to give viewers a contemporary look at what it's like to be in the church today. What's some of the favourite parts of being in the church for you?
Thanks, Lord. I fully understand that. It's the company and the friendship and the good times that we have and the memories of those good times. And some of my friends I've had for over 50 years, 60 years. I can go back and I've actually got friends today that I could walk up to and say hello and ask how they're going and remember something from many, many years ago. Connections, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoy the connections and the friendships you can make within the church. You can meet persons on the other side of the world, persons have known nothing about, and their families and their backgrounds, and you can immediately form a link with them. The church members come from diverse parts of the world, from small rural communities and towns to large cities. And, the friends and the acquaintances you can make, in my case, it's probably broadened my outlook on life. I do enjoy the social gathering, whether it's in the homes or out and about and the church gatherings, but what more, Mum?
Yeah, definitely at church it's great to go and catch up with your friends, and when you had little children, you can catch up with other mums that have got babies as well, maybe going through the same problems that you're having. When you get older, you can talk to older people who are struggling as well, like you are, maybe can't sleep and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's very good. And it wouldn't matter what stage you're at, there's always someone you can reach out to, if you need help. Also at church, of course, you get direction and guidance for your life from the Bible. And that's what holds me. It holds us together, our shared beliefs and values.
Well, thanks very much for sharing your story with us. We've really enjoyed it and hope the listeners have too. That's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.